stop, and landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs altimeters 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available, please.
Ever correction, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance, Pilots 4658 is type PC final slam call, request clearance to Vegas S file.
Pilots 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S file, and I'll be full route standby. Pilots 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas Airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000. Check flight level 2405 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Pilots 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3. Initially climb 7,000, expected to 025, departure 167, squawk 606 plus 465.
Plus 4658, free back is correct. Tango Mike, taxi to the ground via Echo and frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike.
Ontario Tower says the 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left traffic, left downwind runway 26 left before base.
Enter left downwind 26 left before your base, 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower United 242 on the visual for 20 right, returning for right base starting.
United 242 Jolly Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170.3.
Clear to land, clear to right, United.
Near 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 1. Number 237 Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Left base land 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs ramp, Pilots 4658 is trying to get weather going for taxi.
Pilots 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha with you on the islands.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 clear low approach, report miss.
November 2903 Alpha, low approach, runway 9, next week north.
Palm Springs Tower, Pilots 4658 ready to go trail right at Bravo.
And it was the 30 order you check.
Pilots 4658, Palm Springs Tower, runway 31 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, trail right, Pilots 465.
Here's our Yankee Kilo, roger, taxi into the ramp via Alpha. Pilots 4658, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure 465.
Says the 7 Charlie Alpha is clearly active, taxi to the GA parking base.
Number 7 Charlie Alpha, remain on this frequency, taxi into the south ramp via Sierra.
South ramp via Sierra with you, 7 Charlie Alpha, thanks.
November 2903 Alpha going around.
Number 03 Alpha, confirm going around or going missed.
November 2903 Alpha going missing.
Number 03 Alpha, roger, execute the published missed approach procedure.
Flying the published mid-approach procedure, November 2903.
Piper 2903 Alpha, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure, 03 Alpha.
Number 03 Alpha, departure frequency 135.4.
135.4 for departure, November 2903 Alpha.
Ontario Tower, November 516 Delta Mike, inbound ILS 26 left. Or 516 Delta Mike, Ontario Tower. Good afternoon, Ontario. Wind is calm. Runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 6 Delta Mike. Ontario Tower, November 36. Correction, 516 Delta Mike, clear the active at uniform, taxiing to the south apron.
Number 6 Delta Mike, roger, taxi in the south ramp via Sierra, remain on this frequency.
Via Sierra on this frequency, 6 Delta.
Riverside Tower,
27, clear to land.
Clear to land on runway 27, 03 Alpha. Riverside ground, November 2903 Alpha. In Alpha, request taxi to the transient partner.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside ground. In the future, don't switch to the ground frequency unless you're told to do so. Should stay with tower, exiting the runway all the way to the whole short point. Stay on this frequency for now, taxi to ramp via Alpha.
Taxi to ramp via Alpha. Rocket. November 2903 Alpha.
Runway clear. Runway clearance. November 6th. Charlie Mike Cherokee. I would like to attempt the I-4 rating today.
Cherokee 76 Charlie Mike Jolly clearance. Good evening. Good luck on the I-4 destination. Will be, let's go, Kilo, Oscar X-ray, Romeo.
That's Kilo, Oscar, X-ray, Romeo. 6 Charlie Mike.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
I'm going to sign off and collect some information for this destination. I'll sign back in. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Just report when you're back with the I-4. And how long do you think it'll be? It's not going to be more than an hour, is it?
No. I have to file and get some charts and plates.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll still be here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And we'll look for your flight plan to come through, which you're nice of.
Las Vegas Tower, Plus 4658, visual 1 on the right, 4500.
Plus 4658, Las Vegas Tower, runway 19 right, clear to land, wind 1807.
Clear to land, 19 right, 465.
Plus 658, exit right, taxi into the ramp via hotel, remain on this frequency today.
Exit right, right hotel, right frequency, update 465.
Ground number 95 for Whiskey Alpha's Piper Comanche PH4/Alpha. Like taxi be active VFR east departure with weather.
Calling Long Beach Ground, need you just verify your call sign, please.
Sorry about that. 916 Whiskey Alpha. November 916 Whiskey Alpha.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Ground, roger. And just confirm VFR eastbound.
Eastbound and east ramp just south of runway 25.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, roger. Runway 26 right, taxi via Kilo.
Okay, 25 right via Kilo 916 Whiskey Alpha. Long Beach Tower, November 916 Whiskey Alpha. Holding short of 25 right Kilo ready for departure VFR east.
We're 916 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Tower, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, right downwind departure.
Clear for takeoff 25 right, right downwind departure 6 Whiskey Alpha. Good day, Palm Springs. Ground scanning double Delta East ramp, India, close traffic 31 right.
Papa Hotel Tango, Mike, Palm Springs, ground, say again, aircraft type.
Ray Cessna Sky.
Skyline Tango, Mike, thank you, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Echo and Bravo 31 right.
We're 791 Juliet, towards ground left.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet. We see there's no clearance delivery with this field, so would we get our departure instructions with tower or with ground?
Always go with the lowest, so we'll start with ground. Just say your intentions.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet. Type Cessna 172 on the south Angus with the numbers requesting VFR advisories to
Number 791 Juliet, roger. Departure frequency 134.9er, squawk 2061.
1249 is 2061.
Got 991 Juliet, read back is correct. Are you ready to taxi now?
In a couple of minutes, just gotta go and get started. It's Sky 791 Juliet, south Angus 952.
Sky 791 Juliet, roger. Runway 29 right. Taxi via hotel. Correction, taxi via Alpha in Juliet.
29 right taxi by Alpha and Juliet, Sky 791 Juliet. Palm Springs Tower, Skyline Papa Tango, Mike is holding short runway 31 right, Bravo, and ready for departure, close traffic.
Hello fellow aviators, welcome back to the stream of the Uncertified Pilot. So today, my first ever approach procedure, but it's not going to be the old classic ILS approach procedure. We're going to do a charted visual approach first, which is very close to, well, actually it is based on VFR flying, even though it's a instrument approach, I guess. So this is a very gradual, easy getting into flying instrument approach. I've been doing a lot of ground school study, so I've been already academically involved in studying and comprehending much more complex instrument approaches, which is really fun. So this weekend actually I'm going to do a lot more of those. So today is just going to be a basic charted visual approach into Burbank that I'm going to tell about in just a second. And tomorrow and perhaps even Sunday as well, I'm going to do a ILS approach, perhaps also a VOR approach. So that's really exciting, and all on PilotEdge with ATC, so that's going to be pretty exciting. In preparation of my I ratings, obviously. JW, good to see you, and Finish, welcome on the stream as well. So, where are we? Well, we're going to start from Camarillo Airport. Let me just step the map here. So here we are, nice Delta class airport. We're going to fly up to Fillmore VOR, and then we hop over to Burbank, and then we're going to request the 4 stacks charted visual approach into Burbank. And let me show you what that looks like. This is a charted visual approach. Yeah, as the name implies. Really fun. I actually didn't know that such approach procedures actually existed. So you can see these are reference to visual points that we can see outside, looking outside of our cockpit. In this case, Mount Owat, San Fernando Reservoir, the San Gabriel Mountains, and we're going to make a turn along 4 stacks. That's a big factory, as you can see, with 4 big pipelines, or I don't know how you call those in English. And we're going to pass along that 4 stacks building and then into runway 15. In terms of altitude management and stuff, it's not that complex. As you can see here, initially 5,000 feet recommended altitude, so we can fly on whatever altitude we like. In this case, except for that right turn into runway 15, turn final approach for runway 15 at or above 3,000 feet. Now, because we're flying to the east at VFR, I would suggest that we would fly 3,500, and that would set us up nicely for this approach into runway 15. Radar required, I guess that relates to whether there's actually ATC that can see us on radar and can guide us. Obviously, we need also some bare weather minimums here, or at least 5,500 feet of the ceiling and 5-mile visibility in order to see these points and to make this particular approach. Makes sense. And that's about it. This is the textual description here. I would expect to have a little bit more of a detailed description of this visual depiction, this plan view kind of representation of our flight. But the thing only says, when visual approaches to runway 15 are in progress, clearances will be given to aircraft from the northwest through northeast, utilizing the following phraseology. Public might cleared for 4 stacks visual approach to runway 15. Okay, so yeah, that's just it. So again, this is a basic introduction, my very first approach ever here, and then I guess tomorrow or Sunday I'm going to fly proper ILS approaches and also VOR approaches, which are going to be so much more detailed and complex to fly. So I'm really excited. It's a nice way to start my training here. Finish. Some of these charted visual approaches are famous even among the general public. Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. Well, there are many more of these charted visual approaches. Also at San Diego, a nice one. But this one I was familiar with already, or I really learned about through someone else talking about these. And it's really a pure charted visual approach. Also in San Diego, you also have a visual approach, but it also involves a few GPS fixes. Alongside some visual reporting or visual reference points. It looks a little bit more complex than this one, but since I just like to do a classic original charted visual approach, I came up with this one into Burbank. So how are we going to do this? Well, first off, what I also didn't know before when I started the season was that you can actually do you can practice these approaches under VFR conditions, under VFR rules. Actually the ATC controllers prefer you doing that rather than just setting up a brief IFR plan to do an approach, because then you will still be, they don't have to ensure separation of traffic, because that's your responsibility as a VFR pilot. So you actually reduce their workload if you do this under VFR conditions. It's then important that when you request a particular approach, which is as simple as just requesting one, to say that you like to do this under VFR, to explicitly mention that as part of your request. Another thing is that you can fly these approaches, and not only the starter visual approach, but any approach in different ways. You can fly the full approach, usually starting at a particular VOR, a particular vortex, but you can also just request vectors to final, and then you're vectored towards the final approach fix, much more closer to the runway, where you can just initially, well, intercept the ILS or whatever you're flying inbound to the runway. So you can also request partial approaches and practice these. You can also request missed approaches. You can also even request a series of approaches to the controller, most preferably when you're on the ground. You say, hey clearance, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to fly this approach into John Wayne, then from John Wayne into Long Beach, and then I'd like to do this and this and that. That's what I'm trying to do. And many CFIs with their students do that, and that can be really, really challenging. So I guess once I progress through my training and I familiarize myself with different types of approaches, LNAV, VNAV, different kind of guidances or support here in my cockpit to make those approaches. It might be fun also to challenge myself with those kinds of exercises. And we need to do a lot of fiddling around with frequencies and stuff while we are following through on those instrument approaches. Usually, for example, the river approach into DCA. Ah, right. Oh, yes, you've told me about that a long time ago. Yeah, yeah. Well, interesting. I can imagine that those charted visual approach might be quite famous, well known. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to depart from Camarillo. I'm going to do that with flight following, because also with these requests for practice approaches, most of the times you need to request those at a TRACON through approach rather than through tower. I believe there are some local rules or procedures. It depends. It's airport specific in a way, how tower controllers or the controllers like you to request, or where you like to request those, where they like to request you to do those practice approaches. But generally, though, on PilotEdge at least, I believe they prefer to do that through approach. So approach can sneak you into possible other IFR traffic, because obviously you're flying on those same kind of levels, I think, or same altitudes. Perhaps they're not going to do that because we are on VFR. I don't know exactly, but I think I read on the PilotEdge forums that they prefer you to check in with approach so they can coordinate your practice a little bit more better than through tower. So, for example, it's not really recommended to do a traffic pattern at an airport, for example, John Wayne, and while you're on downwind, say, hey, I'd like to do this ILS approach, but rather than just to request a departure away from the traffic pattern area, and then to sign into SoCal approach, and then request a return to John Wayne, but then through that preferred instrument approach. So I guess it's helpful just to also orientate yourself a bit and learn a little bit more about how to go about doing these practice approaches, but that you can do these under VFR is a great help. So that's what I'm doing right now. Perhaps I'm also going to do a few just watching, only fixing, well, not really fixating, but looking at my instruments alone. I'm not going to fly those then in complete IMC because I need to have some reference outside for some other traffic if I'm flying these practice approaches under VFR. But I can still practice learning on flying on instruments while doing these approaches like I would in a real setting, right? When we are actually flying under IMC. Okay, so we're going to request flight following. We're going to fly to the Fillmore VOR, as you can see here. And then I'm going to request, only when we are around there, I'm going to request the Force-X visual approach into Burbank runway 15 under VFR. Very, very important. And I've picked some GPS referenced points here that correspond with the charted visual approach. So first you got Mount Oat, and you got the San Gabriel Mountains, also the San Fernando Reservoir, and then that turn, right turn along Force-X to runway 15. So just to help myself just a tiny bit, I made those different, I set those different fixes or visual reference points here in my map planning as well, which I think is really, really helpful. 3,500. The weather seemed to be alright, and also I was looking at the TAFs. We're flying in real world weather today, finally. As you can see, 4 knots of winds, 10 statute miles of visibility, clear skies, at least here at Camarillo, so that's looking pretty good. Also the TAFs are okay. And Burbank was sounding okay as well, but I'm noticing that at the bottom there you can see LAX, which is turning from blue to red, and that's not a good sign. So I haven't looked at the general weather development in this area, only terminal weather. So let me see again. Meters at Burbank. No winds, 10 statute miles of visibility, clear sky is also a requirement, right, for us to fly the charted visual approach. We need at least 5 statute miles of visibility. And looking at the forecast, the tests, they look good as well. So I guess it's just local, and again, we're flying here in daytime, but actually now in LA it's at night or early morning, and so usually around the coast you can see a lot of fog and stuff. So it might be that might improve over time as the sun rises. Finish. Remember to let ground know of your intentions. Well, I'm going to request flight following through ground or through clearance. I don't know if we have a clearance frequency here on the Camarillo. I guess not. And I think I'm going to let approach know about what we're going to do once we are over Fillmore. In any case, you'd like to obviously give the approach controller some time. So rather than just already flying to that first fix, initial fix of that, or fix reference points in this case, of that charted visual approach, and for example here Mount Oat, and then saying, hey approach, we would like to do Force-X, well you're already on the approach there, which is not really that helpful. So it's better to already in advance let approach know what you're doing. I think I will do that during the flight when we are around Fillmore, and I say, hey, this is what we like to do. We could also just fly without flight following, just depart here and request or get flight following as we are around Fillmore. In either case, it doesn't really matter practically. In this case, I'd rather just have the mental focus here and set up my transponder code and stuff while we're still on the ground. That's usually also what the controllers prefer us to do. Okay, that's it. So I also now reverted back to the official public release of the SimCoders reality extension pack for the 172. So the fuel gauge and the fuel pump stuff is working, so that alpha they are still working on. And apparently there were still some bugs, but I've already seen some new releases and all kinds of other cool stuff that will be implemented. So that's something that I did. Meanwhile, also something what's interesting, also as part of my IFR study, and I've mentioned this a couple of times before, the SKU-T log plot. This is a wonderful piece of information that I was already familiar of a long time ago. It shows you a vertical slice through the atmosphere at any particular airport. This is Burbank, and as you can see to the right there, to the right you can see 1,000, 5,000. Can I zoom in? Yeah, you can see it here. You can see the wind barbs, the direction of the winds, but also the wind speed to the right columns there, 0, 50 and 100 knots. And to the left, I don't know quite exactly what this means. I think it's the dew point and the temperature, outside temperature, something like that. And when these lines meet, so when the dew point corresponds to the actual temperature, I don't know, something like that, then cloud forming might occur. And why are these charts so important or so informative? Because if you look at the general weather charts that I've been using through ForeFlight, that we're not going to do today because we've got just such a short flight and we're already familiar with those charts in any case. You only notice they're only reporting the ceiling, the base of clouds, right? So it's starting at 5,000 feet or 6,000 feet. But obviously there can be multiple layers of clouds. And that's something that is not necessarily reported. And so through these skew plots, skew T-log plots, there might be several occasions where these two lines meet, and you can see, or you can have a much better sense of where you can expect particular clouds to be, and you can therefore think about, prepare, but also while you're flying, pick altitudes of flight where you know that you're not in the soup, not flying in the clouds. Same goes for wind changes, where you can see wind shear, probable or likelihood of wind shear, when you can see that the wind direction is changing at a particular altitude. So this is a really helpful, well, additional complementary kind of information, and I found a really nice app here, this T-log Pro app, that I will be using to get a better sense of what the clouds are doing. Also here in our flight sim, so that's just a quick tip. Okie do. Thanks for the donation, Brian Knight. Thanks, and that's all in support of getting that audio recorder. Because parallel to these series, I'm also working on making my own little Skyhawk for X-Plane. A highly detailed cockpit, highly animated and stuff. We already finished the flight model. So next up is Blender and all kinds of other cool stuff. But I also like to make my own custom sound pack for the 172, based on a 172 SP here on my local airport that I will visit tomorrow, by the way, to do a test flight, to get a little bit more video information, references to how the thing should actually fly. Really excited about that. But I'm also gonna, in some later flights, also gonna record actual sound from that 172 and learn how to do that, how to make a custom sound pack. And to do that, I need a really proper audio recording device, and so that's the donation goal. So that's really, really much appreciated. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's the flight following. Yeah, let's get going. So first, cold and dark check. Parking brakes are not set. Now they are. Live vest, fire extinguisher, doors closed, windows closed. Hey, we're flying Mrs. Mireille. That's not good. We're flying Mrs. Uncertified's airplane. I like to have my own. Because hers doesn't include rep. Yes. Yes, and let me double check. PilotEdge, we're still connected to Roger, and let me sync my track IR. We are back in the seats. Good. Why are my taxi lights on? That's not cold and dark. And the nav lights are on as well. That's a bit weird. It should reset itself actually. And my trim is working as well. Oh no, that's weird. I thought I actually upgraded my 172 here, or reverted my 172 back to that public release, but apparently I've been a bit confused because we have been... I just loaded the 172 of Mrs. Uncertified. So yeah, I guess we still haven't got a fuel gauge that is working. It doesn't really bother me that much because I know that the thing is actually flyable, but I need to look into that. Okay, parking brakes closed again, same thing. Fire extinguisher, seats look good. Close, close, close. DLT set to auto. Flap lever is up, and my flaps are also actually up. Let me see. Resync. Is synced with my Cytec panel. Again, trim is set, a little bit nose down. That's good. We're going to ignore this. Fuel cut. That's also not even interactable. Weird. Fuel cut in, alternate is in, avionics are off, all the lights are off, and again my panel is working. Very, very good. Okay, then let's turn on the batteries. Again, I don't see any reading, but I do like to know how many gallons of fuel we actually have. Well, this is just totally fine. We can also do a light and pitot tube test, but I actually believe that that is just fine. We're also not expecting any cloud formation, so let's skip that. I do like to check my avionics. Why are my avionics not on? Perhaps it's a maintenance report. Let me check. It's always exciting with simcoders to see what's going on. Oil, electric flame, looks good. Thanks, Josh, for the host. Appreciate it. Thank you. Ah, we don't have a recharge. There we go. And we got an ADF receiver. Oh yeah, that was also something that I was telling simcoders as well, right? The ADF that wasn't working. And they said, well, that's really weird that the ADF receiver was not working. And they said, did you check the maintenance report? And I thought, huh, is the ADF receiver also part of the avionics that can be faulted through the reality extension pack by simcoders? And it apparently can. So, fix. We were at that flight, I was reloading into the standard Laminar 172 to make that work, but yeah. Alright, so we fixed that. Avionics on. There we go. Mode C, VFR, very good. I'd also like to put down my flaps. They go down, and they go down in sync. Very good. We're going to set those frequencies soon. It seems to be all nicely lit up. Annunciator panel looks good as well. What is our airport elevation? That's 77. And that looks pretty good. Heading is totally off, as you can see again. Gyro drift, so we're at 25.5. Almost the opposite. There we go. And do we need a heading bug? I guess so. I think we're gonna get runway 26 for our departure usually. Good. This is all set. We don't need that. Again, we're going to ignore the fuel gauge. It's broken, but we know we got fuel. And circuit breakers and everything is still in. Wonderful. Avionics off. Fuel pump on. A little bit of a throttle. 1, 2, 3. Positive fuel flow. Cut off. Fuel pump off. Again, parking brakes are set. Want to ignore the fuel tanks there. Door is closed. Seat belts are on. So clear pop. Mixture in. Ignition to both. Oil pressure's already in the green. Good. Everything looks good to me. Let's lean for ground. See that RPM peak. There it was. A little bit rich of lean. Leaned. Back to 1000. Very good. We allow that engine to warm up. Generator on, or alternator on, I should say. There it goes. Very good. Avionics on. And let's raise the flaps. So the ADF had actually failed. Yeah, exactly. Finish. Exactly. Okay. Frequencies. So, yeah, the only thing that we need actually is Fillmore. And Fillmore is over here. So 112.5. Nav 1, 112.5. Switch. And we also already see a reading. What are we going to expect of a heading? Well, something like 3.8. So let's already set that. Thanks for the follow, Waz. Thank you. Welcome on the stream. What did I say? Well, 040 is good. Yeah, makes sense too. And we got a reading. All right. As IFR pilots, I should also make it a habit to identify VOR. So let's do that right now. Fillmore. You can see here's the Morse code. Beep, 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 blah, blah, blah. Let's have a listen, and I will press... Oh, that's not good. 1200. I'm changing my transponder there. F1. I think that should work. It's identified. Roger. Okay. Hey, Bambino, thank you. Yeah, and preparation is also a very important thing, and again, it's the intellectual dimension to our flight sim practice which really excites me as well. It's important though, but it also brings your flight simulation to life, I think, because you incorporate a lot of more considerations, things become more real and more substantial in a way. Hey, Keith, good to see you. Are you picking up clearance on this flight? I'll be working ATC for some or all of it. Oh, that's good to hear. Well, I'm just going to do flight following, Keith. I'm going to fly the charted visual approach into Burbank. and I'm going to do that under VFR for practice. So that's what I'm going to do today. But tomorrow and Sunday I'm going to do proper instrument approaches, ILSs and VFR approaches. I cannot wait to do that. Studying King Schools, but also the Real World IFR video series. And I totally get now how the Real World IFR series complement or enrich the basic video resources out there like King Schools, which only, I mean, King Schools is great and it provides you a lot of information, but it's really plain old, straightforward, conceptual, linear, clean kind of description of what IFR flying is like procedurally. But obviously in the real world, no IFR flight is the same, and there's a lot of adaptivity going on and changes and really subtle things that can really mess you up. And once I completed that King School series, and now I'm busy with the real world ones, and I can really see the real world dimension to IFR flying. So again, I appreciate that that tip. I'm really enjoying that stuff. Yes, so we set the Fillmore, did I? 1 to 2.5, that's what I did, and we already have a reading, and that's good, and we don't need anything else other than just visual references into the 4 stacks visual approach into 1.5. So yeah, I don't need anything else, I guess, other than just communication frequencies. That was what we can do right now. Keep very little context in their stuff. That's why we create this series. Glad you like it. Exactly. Yes. So communications. Well, first off, obviously we are at Camarillo, so we need ground, and or do you also have clearance? We also have clearance, and I see we've got 2 frequencies on top. Which one do we need? So I think if we just go to this chart, might it tell us something? We have a Point Magoo clearance delivery and we have a basic clearance delivery. What would be the difference? I think I will just pick the basic clearance delivery, 1 to 1.8. And for ground, 1 to 1.8. No, I'm messing around here. Yeah, 1 to 1. It's the same. Yeah, it's just ground. Ground control and clearance delivery, as you can see on top, have the same frequencies. Yeah, and we also had a Delta airport, so it doesn't surprise me at all that we only have ground control. But why they also mentioned Point Magoo, not quite sure. Okay, so then tower, 1 to 8.2. In our standby, 1 to 8.2. Keith Point Magoo listed when tower is closed. Roger. Thanks, Keith. Thanks. Okay. Okay. We're gonna get a departure frequency. So that's something that we're gonna write down soon when we talk to clearance. In 1 minute, PilotEdge goes live. And I also like to know the ADIS, obviously, and that's COM2. Thanks for the follow, DCC. Thank you. Welcome on the stream. Hope you're all doing well, guys. Starting off the weekend. I'm gonna fly my ass off this weekend. Also, in the real, I'm gonna visit my local airport tomorrow. Gonna do a flight in the 172 SP to make all kinds of videos on the behavior of the 172, so I can further tweak my flight model of my own Skyark that I'm making. Also gonna do some steering on my own, obviously. Really excited. And then also the practice of the ILS approaches and stuff. So it's going to be a nice weekend of a lot of flying. Focus, Tim. 126.025. COM2 126.02. Roger. And I also like to see the ADIS of Burbank, so we can pick up information there while we're on the way. And that's 134.5. Again, you can see 2 different ADIS frequencies. That's interesting. Don't know whether X-Plane actually does something with that, but I can imagine there's a particular ADIS for departures or for arrivals or something like that. I just pick 134.5. prepping as much as we can. Ace in the sky, good to see you. Well, it's
Los Angeles traffic.
just in the evening here.
904 Charlie Papa and final for 007 right on the ILS, full stop, Los Angeles.
That was a little bit too loud. COM1 disabled. Need to remember that. Okay, so we got the COM frequencies and Burbank. We got the charted visual. Again, just going through, rehearsing what we have. We are currently parked near the tower, so that's there. So what are we expecting? Well, I guess Bravo Alpha 26. That's what I'm expecting. We have to see. So it's going to be quite basic. Okay, scratch pad, 3,500. And also we need to listen to our ATIS here.
Camarillo information Oscar.
Oscar.
1400 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 9. Dew point 6. Altimeter 2997.
97 corresponds. We've got a working altimeter.
Departing runway 26.
26,
Advise
yeah.
on initial contact.
You have Oscar. Okay, that's good. And let's put COM1 on again. And now let me give my scratch pad here. Let's zoom out. Bloop. Engine is slowly warming up already. Good. Good. Come on. COM1 is on. Yes, it is. Alright, so that's Camarillo ground. We're Slant Alpha.
Radio check.
Loud and clear.
And there's Keith.
Mini 4 Charlie Papa, taxi ramp via November Alpha. Have a good day.
November Alpha to the ramp, 4 Charlie Papa.
Let me see. Sound a bit reduced. Slant Alpha. We got information Oscar near the tower. Flight following to Burbank at 3,500.
To Las Vegas.
And we get a squawk code then.
JetBlue 2 Eddie, Long Beach clearance. Good morning. Say equipment suffix.
Slant Golf, I suppose. It's a A320. Or whatever the code is for RNAV.
Okay, it's probably going to be Slant Lima if it's RVSM as well.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that'd be the case.
JetBlue 280 on request, standby.
Let's wait for that request. He's now filing or putting things in for that IFR flight. So. Yeah, Blackwood. Now, come on. Otherwise I will. Camarillo ground, good day. Skyhawk Papa Tel Tango India Mike near the tower here with information Oscar with the request.
Papa Tel Tango India Mike, Camarillo ground, good morning.
Good morning, Papa Tel Tango Mike is a Cessna Skyhawk, Slant Alpha, and would like to request flight following to Burbank at 3,500.
Papa Tel Tango India Mike, departure frequency with Point Magoo 124.7, squawk 0301.
124.7 and squawk 0301, Papa Tel Tango Mike.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, read back.
Alright, 0301. Double check that. Yeah, that's set. Good. And we got that departure frequency. That's Point Magoo. Usually I just say SoCal departure. Point Magoo. Point Magoo. Thank you for the follow, Luyok Siwang. Thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so that means that we have clearance and we are also still on ground and we're ready to taxi. So we get a taxi instruction. Camarillo ground, Skype up Delta, you might near the tower, ready for taxi.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, runway 8, taxi via Foxtrot and Echo.
Runway 8. Runway 8, Foxtrot and Echo, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Alright, that's a change. I expected 26. Let's have a look. Again, taxiways, so we're gonna clear that up.
JetBlue 280, full route clearance advice, ready to copy.
Ready to copy, JetBlue 280.
JetBlue 280, cleared to Las Vegas, McCarran Airport, Zoom 1, departure, Meissen, transition, Cape X,
Foxtrot and Echo.
Arrival. Climb via Citic have maintained 3000. Departure frequency.
Yeah, exactly. So,
128.1.
as you can see, quite basic.
Squawk
Foxtrot
5217.
and Echo. Okay. Seems good to me.
While you were talking there, I had another plug-in.
Parking brakes released.
So after the
brakes
climb
test
would you be able to give me the rest of that again?
JetBlue 280, departure frequency.
Turn indicator, slip indicator, heading indicator, everything seems to work. Attitude indicator stuff is stable. Here is Foxtrot. Yeah, confirmed.
Okay, and
a very nice airport scenery here.
Zoom 1 was what normally gets flown, but in my database
900
right now,
RPM
for
for
some
steady.
reason, the only thing I have is the
taxi speed.
Anaheim departure, which is why I filed for it. I should be able to do the Cape X6, but is there any way we can get it to the Anaheim for the departure?
JetBlue 280 negative. The Anaheim is for piston aircraft.
Thanks, Grab, for the donation. Get
right,
that
so
plane done. Absolutely. Thank you,
okay.
guys, for the
In that
support.
case,
Really,
cancel
really
clearance.
appreciate it.
Let me
Thank
work
you,
on something
Scrap.
else for you.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. I just reinstalled this plane.
Will
The
do.
database seems a little wonky.
Wilco. But first, IFR training. March is IFR training. I think I'm not gonna complete all of the I ratings as well, or we're gonna get far. Thanks, Grab.
JetBlue 280, change route to read on departure, fly runway heading till 1500, then turn
Okay,
left.
so we're going to
heading
depart.
180.
Let's change
Expect
our
radar vectors, Seal Beach,
bug
that's
here
Sierra
as
Lima,
well.
India. Direct Daggett, it's Delta Alpha Golf. Direct Meissen,
That's 8.
then the rest of the route unchanged.
Also like to brief the airport facility directory.
Alright, so JetBlue
just to make
280,
sure there's no specific
Las
kind of
Vegas
thing that we
beyond
need to
departure
consider
climb
while we are
runway
reporting.
heading Until 1,500 feet, and then a left turn to
Echo
180.
is
radar
straight
vectors
ahead.
to Seal Beach, Delta Alpha Golf, Meissen, and then the Cape X6 arrival. I guess suppose climb maintain 3,000.
Well, we're going to make a
on
nice
departure,
Cessna
expect,
Scrap.
250 10 minutes after. 128.1 is the frequency, and squawk 5217.
JetBlue 280, read back correct, yeah. Maintain 3000, and in that case expect flight level 250 5 minutes after departure.
JetBlue 280, thank you. And do you know the runway JetBlue 280 can expect for departure?
JetBlue 280, runway 30.
Roger.
Okay, coming up to the threshold. You can see the run-up area there. Very good. I'm flying a chartered visual approach, Scrap. Ah, there's a point here where we need to point our... I think that we need to point our nose into that direction, but I'm not sure. Never seen that symbol before. Interesting. First off, engine is already warm. Yes. Throttle or mixture in. 1800. No uninitiated messages. Everything is stable. Very good. Left mag. Good enough drop. Back to both. Right mag. Good enough drop and comparable. Back to both. Let's go idle. No uninitiated messages. Still stable. Should have also checked my vacuum there at 1800 as an IFR pilot. I should incorporate that stuff as well. 1800. Yeah, it's in the green. Good. Okay. Keep it at 1000 here. Arch of flaps. Trim is still set. Fuel tanks we're going to ignore because that's a bug. To the right, that one goes down. And then we should go up all the way around Good. Down and trim. It's working too. And my rudders work as well. Nice. Landing lights on, strobe lights on. We're going to depart 080. I should actually, as I already mentioned, just check the airport facility directory. Camarillo, airport remarks. Let me see. Traffic pattern 800, that's interesting. 877 feet. But that's not a concern to us, and I don't see anything else that really frightens me or concerns me. Good. So we're going to take off. We're going to request a northeast departure to get to Filmer VR that we already set. Well, flaps up gear. I thought that as well. That we shouldn't use any flaps, but it's actually in the manual, I believe. And also here on my local airport, they're flying with flaps, with 10 degrees of flaps. Okay, you can also fly without or take off without any flaps, but anyways, mixture full in. Then I'm gonna strobe lights. Ready. Let's switch to. Let me see. 129.20. Is that double checked? Tower 128. There we go. 128.20, and our approach frequency, Point Magoo approach, is 124.7. So we're going to set it in the standby as well. Yeah, 128. Double check. 128.2. Yes. Okay. And where are we holding short of Echo? Yes. Camarillo Tower, Sky Pop Hotel Tango Mike is holding short runway 8 at Echo, ready for departure northeast.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Camarillo Tower, on course is approved, runway 8 clear for takeoff, wind 0704.
Clear for takeoff, runway 8 Papa Hotel Tango Mike. And on course means that we can also depart in our direction that we requested. So there we go, double check that Keith is lucid here. No one's on the runway. No one is coming towards the runway as far as I can see. Good. Make sure and everything is set. Good. Let's use the full runway here. There we go. Aligns with the heading indicator. Full power. A bit of right rudder there. Airspeed still live, engine is still looking in the green. Check that center light in 40, 50, and 60. Rotates. Keep that nose a bit down. Trim a bit. VY first. Look at that scenery here, guys. It's so pretty. Okay, 200 feet. There's 300, flaps up. And there's 400, so we can already start our turn. Make sure there's no one there. There we go, engine is still looking good. 3,500. And we need to fly, 35. Good. Heading to cross check. Looks good. What manual did you see this in? Just curious. I don't know. I would say the POH, but I have to be honest though that I'm doubting whether I've actually read that in the POH flaps up. I will take a look at it. I was usually flying with flaps up all of the time when takeoff. But the instructor on my local airport triggered me, saying you need to, that it's actually in the manual to take off with 10 degrees. And then I did some research and I indeed found that it actually should be 10. Need to look that up.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, contact point Magoo departure, good flight.
Over to departure, Papa Hotel Tango, thanks for that. Alright, 124.7. Point Magoo departure, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is set to 2,300 for 3,500.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, point Magoo departure, radar contact Camarillo altimeter 29999.
99er, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Alright, 99er. Boom, boom. Good. Landing lights off, strobe lights can remain on. What a gorgeous weather today, guys. Some clouds there to the left. Again, I didn't do my proper weather briefing still, so I have no idea what the weather is generally doing in this area, which is bad practice. You should always do that, even with such a short flight. Look at that. And I read that the next version of Enviro, X-Enviro, is on the brink of being released. I think it's the 15th of March. I just tweeted it out today, which is going to provide us with a significantly upgrade engine, and it should all work now and be bug-free. So I'm really excited to see that. Alrighty, there we go. Goes down. There goes the speed. Actually wondering now, I didn't do a terrain check whether 3,500 would suffice. Alright, set back to cruise RPM, something like that, and let's lean. There goes the EGT. 8.4 nautical miles. Expensive, you mean? Hey guys, I'm a PPL in training and trying to plan for a cross-country leg today. How do I calculate the fuel burn per hour in a Cessna 172? Therefore, I can get the fuel burn for the whole leg. Oh, look at the POH. Look at the POH. There are tables there that show you the fuel burn, and it depends on what altitude you're flying, how many RPMs you're flying. Okay, I'd like to grab the 8 as of Burbank already. So switch. Might come to standby.
Bob Hope Airport Burbank information Oscar.
Oscar.
1400 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 11. Dew point 6. Altimeter 2999. Arriving runway 33. Departing runway 33. Advise on initial contact, you have Oscar.
Now it could be that runway 15 is not in use because of the winds or stuff.
Tango India Mike, contact SoCal approach 134.2.
Over to SoCal approach 134.2, Papa Tango Mike. 134.2. Switch. SoCal approach, Papa Tango Mike is level 3,500.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, SoCal approach Burbank altimeter 29999, traffic 10 o'clock 3 miles eastbound, altitude indicates 3,500.
Altimeter 99, and we're looking for the traffic. Thanks, Papa Hotel Mike. 10 o'clock. What was the altitude? I didn't quite recall. Do we see some blinking lights there? Nope, don't see him.
Papa Hotel Tango, Mike, sorry, did you say you had the traffic in sight?
No, we're still looking for the traffic. We don't have it in sight just yet. No.
Hotel Tango India Mike, he's converging.
Oh, yeah.
9 o'clock, half mile altitude.
Yeah, we have the traffic in sight, Mike. Close call.
Hotel Tango India Mike, roger.
Look at that. Close call. Papa Hotel Mike, roger. Yeah. 3.2 miles. Looks good. Again. There's Fillmore. There we need to make a right turn. We're going to fly to Mount... What was it called? Oat. That's our first visual reference point for a chartered visual approach. This is amazing. Recommended altitude 5,000. Doesn't mean that we need to stick to 5,000. At that turn to the right, we need to be at least 3,000. So that's why 3,500 will do. I'm not quite sure whether 3,500 will do with the terrain that we're overflying.
Severe Charlie Lima, cross runway 25 left at Lima.
So from Fillmore, we're going to fly to Mount Oat, and around Fillmore, I think I'm going to request that 4 stacks visual approach into Burbank runway 15. Real world scary, seriously too close. Yeah, exactly, seriously too close. But it was weird why I didn't see him actually, because he was really following my direction. I think he was just behind the strut or behind this piece, but I was really turning around here. I mean, that's the great use of using Track IR, but I couldn't see him. Oh, my GPS is not working as well. That's interesting. Ah, yes, we just flipped. Well, what we can do, that might be handy, is get a radial outbound, obviously, because we make a turn. 84. Oh. 84-ish. Again, double check our instruments or cross-check our heading indicator and stuff. Look at that scenery, guys. It's gorgeous. What a wonderful area to fly at. Not particularly fond of the view there in front of us in terms of terrain, but we'll have to see. Now let's catch that radial. We're flying east on the heading indicator, and we're pretty much flying that on the compass as well. That's good. There comes the needle, one on the nav 1. Good. Some clouds there. Also love the trails, the hiking trails that you can see with this photo reel. It's really nice. Alright, how many miles do we need to fly until we can expect at Mount Oat? Well, it is going to be somewhere around 14 miles. We're now We're already 3.5 miles away, so I think it's a good call to already say, SoCal, this is what we'd like to do. So let's do that. I don't need these. We do have Oscar, that's what I know. 4 miles east of Fillmore, that's where we are.
Number 34150, Santa Monica ground, loud and clear.
SoCal approach, Sky Papa Delta Mike with a request.
Papatel Tango India Mike SoCal.
We're around 5 miles east of the Fillmore VOR, and we'd like to request the charted visual approach into Burbank, runway 15 on VFR.
Papatel Tango India Mike. Okay, we'll plan for that. Maintain VFR.
Thanks, and we'll maintain VFR Papatel Mike. Good. Okay. So, still, we're going to fly that radial. And we are curious of finding that Mount Oat. And I think it's around that hill. Perhaps it might even be this spot. I think it's just behind there. So let's take a little bit here to the left. Also, let's have a look at that charted approach here. You can see where that's Mount Oat, so we're flying to the north side of that mountain, and then we sneak in between this valley, apparent valley, just north of the San Fernando Reservoir, and make that turn around
JetBlue
4
280
stacks.
Long Beach Tower, runway 30, cleared for takeoff, wind 1003.
There we go. Where's my speed decreasing? What's our engine doing still? Everything looks good. EGT is nicely high up. It's looking good still. 7 miles. Yeah, so I think that might correspond around 10, 15-ish, 12-ish. We might be around Mount Oat, and I think it's somewhere around there. And this might be that valley that we need to fly through. Again, we got Oscar of Burbank. We could already set the tower frequency of Burbank, 118.7. It's prepared as well. In terms of parking, we're going to park at Atlantic, and I think that's at the south side of the airport. So if we're going to land on 15, we're going to make a right exit. Yeah. No, Cessna SkyPilot, it doesn't come with photoreal. The scenery is pretty okay, but this is clearly downloaded from the internet. Very easy. I mean, yeah, it takes time to download this stuff. These are many gigabytes of data. I've got 300, I believe, for just the basic PilotEdge coverage area. But this is it. I mean, Orbex, even Orbex cannot compete with this kind of detail. At least flying from an altitude and looking at the textures. Obviously with the airport scenery, 3D objects, they do a great job. But so I'm going to scrape the hills here. Wow, what a view, guys. Look at that. Now, because we're flying below 3,000 feet AGL, we are actually free to climb whatever we like to do, even though we're not flying on a, seemingly not flying, looking at our altimeter at a VFR altitude, we're free to do this.
JetBlue 280, contact SoCal.
Gonna report the Mount Oat in sight. SoCal approach, Sky Papa Delta Mike, we've got Mount Oat in sight.
Papatel Tango India Mike Roger.
Just to, I guess, remind him that we're still trying to do that 4 stacks departure, or arrival, I mean. Let's put on
JetBlue 280, SoCal
landing
departure,
lights.
radar contact, climb and maintain 6,000, the Long Beach altimeter 2999.
I think that this is Mount Oat. It's the
JetBlue
highest
280,
up.
say
Yeah.
ASD.
It's this, I think. So we're going to scrape that, and then we're going to go this direction. We're going to follow the terrain here, make a right turn, and then into Burbank, which
JetBlue
is
280.
somewhere
Just a
over
reminder,
there.
below Class Bravo airspace, there's a 200 knot speed restriction. So you'd need to maintain that till reaching 5,000. That's where the Bravo begins.
This is fun though, a charted visual approach. It's interesting. Get not proper IFR flying, I know. We're going to do that tomorrow and Sunday. So if you're liking this stuff, that's going to be my first ILS approach on PilotEdge.
We're pretty sure this gets violated all the time in the real world by jets out of Long Beach.
Look at this scenery. And we're even close. I mean, if you're flying more high up, it's...
Yeah, I've always wondered how a pilot is expected to know on an IFR flight plan what the Bravo shelve altitudes are, since it's not depicted on the low en route chart.
It will be more pretty even if we fly a little bit more high up. Okay, this is Mount Oud, I think. Not really a clear visual mark.
Oh, so you do? Okay. Well, in that case, it's actually still the same deal, because now you're still not on the Bravo
So
now, because you just left that shelf.
There
and
we
the
are.
next shelf begins at 8.
We're going to go
so
down
there's still
San Fernando
200 knot speed
Reservoir
restriction based on where we are right now.
and San Gabriel Mountains. That's what we need to sneak in between of. So I guess these are the San Gabriel Mountains.
34150 along Santa Monica ground, loud and clear.
Where is the reservoir?
And
There's the
W280
reservoir.
Turn left heading 040, whenever proceed direct seal leach.
So good. Double check our heading indicators, still in sync with our compass. Landing lights and strobe lights are on. We still are leaned, which is fine. We can lower ourselves to 3,500. Lows we can go for that turn. There's
W283 at Lima Tango,
3,500.
Port right base, runway 24. JetBlue 280, did you copy the turn? JetBlue 280, turn left heading 040, whenever proceed direct to Seal Beach, then resume our navigation. I'll have higher for you shortly.
Pretty sure that's the reservoir. And these are the mountains, so this looks looking good. We're actually going to follow that highway, I guess, a bit. Now we need to spot 4 stacks. Now again,
Cessna 737, Romeo, Juliet, Fulton ground, say equipment suffix.
4 stacks is 3D, well 3D, it's that factory. And I don't know whether we will actually see that 3D object here in my scenery.
Cessna 7 Romeo, Juliet, thanks. See if you can include that in the, as part of the ICAO code in the flight plan in the future. Clearance on request, standby.
I should expect a clearance now for the 4 stacks.
7 Romeo Juliet, okay, runway 24, actually you're on the north side or south side?
What a wonderful scenery. This is a wonderful approach.
7 Romeo Juliet, runway 24, taxi via Alpha, squawk VFR for now. JetBlue 280, contact SoCal departure 127.4.
Okay, so far so good. Gonna make that turn right there.
So it's the 34150, Santa Monica ground, loud and clear. How about me?
Burbank is somewhere around there.
Okay. Were you getting the other responses, or was this the first one?
And Whiteman Airport.
Okay, we got all the other calls too.
Should be somewhere around here, very close.
Happens every day.
That's a soup. My gosh. How X-Plane can
JetBlue 280, SoCal departure, Roger, climb and
still
maintain
manage to
13,000.
generate that stuff amazes me.
Number 283, Lima Tango, runway 24, cleared land. Say again the type of aircraft. Thank you.
I'm just looking good. Waiting for that switch to tower. Can we already see the airport, guys?
7 Romeo Juliet, clearance available, advise ready to copy.
There's Whiteman. That might be Burbank. Looks airporty, yes. And 4 stacks should be somewhere around here, I guess. So this is good. We're going to continue.
JetBlue 280, if it helps, you're in the Bravo now, so you can accelerate to 250 if you like.
3,000. I'm descending, should remain above that. So let's give a little bit more power here. Again, everything is lit on. Mixture full in.
JetBlue 280 contact, Los
Parking
Angeles
brakes are
125.27.
released. Again, fuel tanks ignore. Where is 4 stacks?
JetBlue 280, Los Angeles center climber maintained.
Yes, there's runway 15. So I guess 4 stacks would have been somewhere around here. Perhaps here. Yeah, this is the reason why they like you to stay up at least 3,000 feet, because otherwise you will hit this terrain.
Baron Tree, Lima Tango, thanks. Taxi to the ramp Alpha, have a good day.
Nice approach. What an area.
Tesla 7 Romeo Juliet, cleared to the Cable Airport, fly heading 120, expect road vectors, Seal Beach, then is filed. Maintain 2,000, expect 5,000, 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency, 128.1, squawk 2464.
Now tower, or approach, hand me over to tower. I'm gonna align, I'm gonna report. Circle approach, Sky Pop Hotel Tango Mike is now lined up with runway 15.
November 737 Romeo Juliet, read back correct. Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, yes I see that. Who else called?
Oh. I would expect to be handed over to tower, but apparently
so it's
I'm...
6182 Golf, LA Center, go ahead.
Let's also set ourselves up for a landing here. So, at least I'd like to slow down a bit.
Cessna 82 Golf on standby. Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, contact Burbank Tower 118.7.
Over the tower, Papa Hotel Tango Mike, thanks. Switch. And Burbank Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is only 4 stacks, visual 15.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Burbank Tower runway 15, clear to land.
Clear to land 15, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Good. Good. Yeah, I guess they only switch you over to tower once you are nearing the airspace, the Delta airspace in this, or Delta, the inner airspace of Burbank.
2162, hold for release.
Because outside of it, approach is in control. And I guess that explains the reaction of Keith saying, yeah, I know that you are lined up. You're still in my territory. And so as soon as I'm getting into that inner area, terminal area.
Okay. Did you mention that in the first call, or did I miss it?
2 whites.
Okay. Yeah, that's a material.
Hey Jim, good to see you. This is photoreal.
Hold off on the IFR clearance. Squawk 2162.
This is photoreal scenery. Look at this. This is just
thank you.
Highly detailed textures.
JetBlue 280 contact.
Ah, there's 4 stacks, perhaps.
33.55.
Or here they are, 4 stacks. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 20 degrees. Let's focus on our landing here. Our first charted, at least, approach.
Cessna 82 Golf, spread of contact 5 miles southeast of
Very
the
nice approach.
altitude.
Go Goes our speed. Let's trim a bit. And again, I'd like to park.
Cessna 2 Golf, thanks. San Luis altimeter 3001. And cleared to the Catalina Airport.
At this time,
via
I
turn
am
left heading 160, intercept with the 485, then as filed.
Runway 15. There's Atlantic, so a right exit. Thanks for the follow, Denny. Thanks. I'm gonna start this weekend with a lot of IFR flying, guys. Or at least practice approaches in my case.
Fullerton Tower, Cessna Skyhawk 737, Romeo Juliet, holding short, runway 24, IFR release.
For Burbank is 123.9er.
Cessna 737, Romeo Juliet, Fullerton Tower, runway 24, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 24, 737, Romeo Juliet.
123.9er. Should have prepared this already in advance, but I couldn't because I was still on.
Burbank clearance, Skyhawk 210 Alfa
we made the
Romeo,
field, full flaps.
Cessna 172 Slant Golf, request flight following for Fullerton via El Monte, level 3,500 feet for the Cat 9.
So also extend our landing just a tiny bit so it saves us some taxi time.
Tesla 210 Alfa Romeo, Burbank clearance, good morning.
We need to go exit and
maintain
then
VFR
right,
out of below
Atlantic is somewhere over there. Look at this scenery, guys, isn't it pretty?
Squawk 6212.
Wave down to the cars.
Maintain at or below 2,500 feet, squawk 6212, frequency 134.2, Skyhawk 210 Alfa Romeo.
Don't want to cross that runway actually.
Skyhawk 210 Alfa Romeo, read back correct. Good luck on the Cat 9.
Thank you.
Nice. Flaps up. Let's brake a bit. Go.
JetBlue 280 SoCal approach. Are you on frequency by any chance?
And we are at Bravo 3. Get our butts behind this threshold line.
JetBlue 280 LA Center's looking for you. 133.55.
Park and brake set. Back to 1,000. We clean this stuff up. Landing lights off. Strobe lights off. Very good. We're still at
Papa
tower.
Tango India Mike. Say parking.
I'd like to park at Atlantic, Papa Tango.
Papatal Tango India Mike, taxi to Atlantic via Bravo and Delta. Have a good day.
Via Bravo and Delta to Atlantic. Thanks for them today, Papa Tango.
Pleasure.
Oh, right. And we stay on this frequency. So, Bravo Delta, before I just start taxiing,
Burbank ground, Skyhawk 210 Alfa Romeo, near parking near taxiway Bravo. I have India ready to taxi.
Yeah, Bravo.
JetBlue 280 Los
Delta.
Angeles Center, climb and maintain flight level 250.
Yeah, this is Bravo, right? Yeah.
Cessna 210 Alpha Romeo, Burbank ground, roger, hold position.
Hold position 210 Alfa Romeo.
There we go. Made it, guys. First approach. Even though it's a visual approach. It was a charted visual approach, though. Ah, there's someone else there on the ramp. Cessna 172.
Cessna 210 Alpha Romeo, runway 15, taxi via Bravo.
Nice.
15 via Bravo, 210 Alfa Romeo.
Steady taxi, not going too fast. 900 RPM is good. I would expect Delta here. Let's have a close look. Burbank is such a confusing. Let's see.
Papa Tel Tango India Mike, monitor ground 123.90.
123.9. Alright, Delta is not here, right? No, but we can because Atlantic is over there. Let's go this direction. This is Millionaire.
7 Romeo Juliet, frequency change.
7 Romeo Juliet, contact SoCal departure.
Going to SoCal, 7 Romeo Juliet.
Let me see if we can still see
SoCal departure
Atlantic
737
here.
Romeo Juliet, 1800
we could
climbing
also
2000.
taxi it around here. This is Delta.
737 Romeo Juliet, you're with Santa Monica Tower. Who are you looking for?
Interesting. Airport Fire Department.
Sorry, I
wow.
just needed to put the frequency in.
It's... Look at this scenery, guys. It's great. Search and rescue. Luckily, we didn't need that. But I thought... I expected to see something that would say Atlantic Aviation. Perhaps I'm not looking. Keep clear. Ignore. Millionaire.
737. I had my
well, then it's
handoff to go to 120.1.
Millionaire. It is.
7 Romeo Juliet. You with Santa Monica Tower. Whereabouts are you? Who are you looking for?
Looking for SoCal departure out of Fullerton.
Okay, I don't know what frequency they use over there. Try Fullerton Tower, see if you can get clarification on the frequency.
Oh, right. And breakage.
Fullerton Tower, Cessna Skyhawk 737 Romeo Juliet. I just wanted to confirm my SoCal departure frequency.
Okay.
7 Romeo Juliet 128.1.
And there we go. Then we switch off our transponder. Good. I can reset it to 0120 VFR for the next time. And yeah, avionics off, cut off, off. Can fuel tanks and stuff we cannot change because this is still a little buggy. Yeah, I need to look at that. And there we go. And we release our seat belts. Done. Charted visual approach. Checked. That was cool. I believe that was cool. It was also very, very scenic. Let's review that landing. Sorry. Disconnect. Shifts. No, let's first close that door because otherwise we'll be flying with an open door. And okay. If explain allows. It does. There we go. Oh yeah. What a scenery. Shift 5. There we go. Let's project our path. Went pretty well. R172. Isn't she lovely? Shift 3. Okay. Again, keeping a bit high to make the taxi a bit more efficient. Nicely nose up on the center line, nose down. It was perfect. The only thing that I was noticing is that I didn't have a lot of room on my yoke anymore to further pull up, pitch up. And that was because I was quite high. Or steep, I must say. What I did was, I saw that taxi exit, Bravo 3, and I thought, oh, I want to have that. Or that one, I think there. And so I pulled on the throttle, and then your angle of attack with a yoke aft position becomes really close. So that's why. Very nice. A charted visual approach. Wonderful. And I never knew that those existed, to be honest. And there are many more in the SoCal area. I've chatted with Keith as well to get a sense of what options we have. There's also a very nice one here in the San Diego area, or to be even more precise, San Diego itself. Let me see. Let me first check info. Well, I can even keep that thing on, obviously. SoCal, blah, blah, blah. Approaches. Visual, runway 27. There you go. So this is another charted visual approach. But this one, as you can see, also includes a few GPS fixes. And I thought, well, we could do that, but I'd rather just stick with a pure charted visual approach that doesn't include any instrument flying. So that's why. But this is also one that we can fly. Really nice. You can see also a localizer there. It's a bit more fancy, so that's why I thought let's just start with the Burbank one. But there are many more of these. Again, same kind of weather minimums, or even more visibility is required here, I guess, because of all of these different visual points. But it's interesting, I think. Alright, so what are we going to do? Well, for tomorrow, I'm going to fly a instrument approach, and one of the things that I did, and I will just show you briefly, I've updated my UncertifiedPilot.com website again, as usual, just because of study and things, and I think, oh, this can be more efficient or more effective or should be elaborated. This is my website, stage 4. Yeah, so here you can see we're now at stage 4. So we completed instrument flying, holding patterns, all kinds of stuff, and now we just completed the task A, charted visual approaches. Next up is ILSs. So those provide us vertical and lateral guidance into the airport. And we can fly those based off a basic ILS, but we can also be a little bit more fancy with newer GPS technology and fly an LPV approach or an LNAV plus VNAV approach. There are different variations, but they all practically, you fly them the same. So one flight that we're going to do perhaps tomorrow, also fun one, sidestep approaches. So when we fly into LAX, where we can switch from runways, from a parallel runway while we are on the approach. Very interesting. And the VOR approaches, and I think I'm really curious to fly one, fly a VOR approach first. So perhaps we're going to do an ILS approach tomorrow, and then Sunday a VOR approach. It's going to be interesting with only lateral guidance, and so we need to descend based off of a profile chart. So that's really interesting, I think. And then back course approaches, NDB approaches, circling approaches, the whole bunch. And then we're going to do my first start to end IFR flight. We're actually going to file an IFR flight plan. This is really cool. Okie doke. Time for dinner. Well guys, again, wishing you a great weekend, hoping that you will jump aboard the next stream tomorrow. Keep a close eye on my Twitter or Discord, where we'll announce, I guess, somewhere in the evening, so later than today. So I would start, I guess, a few hours later. I'm not quite sure yet, but I have to see, just to plan that, schedule that. And then we're going to fly that ILS approach. I think that's really cool. I shouldn't have done that, because now I think we reverted. No, we didn't. Okay. Yeah. So, thanks again, guys, for your support. Thanks for the follows, and obviously thanks for the host, Just Gibbs. Thank you for the donation, Brian. Much appreciated to get that digital audio recorder to create my own, develop my own custom sound pack for the 172 that we are making. And obviously we can only make a fraction of the quality that A2A brings us with the 170. I've also been flying prepared for a year or so a while ago. I started my channel actually with prepared and A2A. I think we can do a lot of interesting stuff with our 172 in terms of animation, make it even more animated than any airplane out there. But to really make it fly like a realistic 172, we need to do a lot more research, also collaborate with others, so that's really exciting. That's what I'm going to do in April, I guess somewhere around there. First IFR training, and I'm really excited about that. Also, Scrap, thank you for the cheers once more, and Bambino also hosted. I think I even did not recognize you with that. Thank you. And Danny again, follow. Yeah, great guys. Thanks for the support. So again, have a great weekend. Hoping to see you tomorrow when I do my ILS approach. Thanks for all the cheers and support. And as always, happy flights. and blue skies. Bye. Palm Springs Tower, Skylane, Hotel Tango, Mike is 10 miles north of the airport at 3000. Information X-ray for full stop, landing 13 left if that's available.
Hotel Tango, Indy Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Hotel Tango, Indy Mike, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31 through requesting straight in for 13.
That's it.
Ever correction, Hotel Tango, Indy Mike, next straight in runway 13 left, and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 13 left, Hotel Tango, Indy Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance, Pilatus 4658 is type PC12 slam call, request clearance to Vegas S file.
Pilatus 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon, unable to give you S file, will be forward demo. Pilatus 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000. Expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3, and initially climb 7,000, expected for 0 after 5, departure 1267, squawk 6316 plus, which is 5.
Pilatus 4658, readback is correct. Tango Indy Mike, taxi to ramp via Echo, remain this frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Hotel Tango, Indy Mike.
Ontario Tower says that 237 Charlie Alpha approximately 4 miles to the west inbound to land.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left, traffic, left downwind, runway 26 left, report base.
And left downwind 26 left, report your base 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 240, on the visual for 20 right, will be turning for right base.
United 242 Jolly Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170, level 3.
Clear to land, 20 right, land.
Near 520 Kilo Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 11. Number 237 Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left.
Left phase around 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs ground Pilatus 4658 East trying to move to weather, going for taxi.
Pilatus 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning. November 2903 Alpha with you on the ILS.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 clear